Hey, good morning, everyone. Happy Thursday morning to you, and welcome back to Morning Musings. How is your self quarantine going? Uh, you know, I've seen some of the most hilarious things posted. Um, I saw something on the internet just the other day and said, well, okay, since the coronavirus has hit and we're self quarantined, I'm having to homeschool my three kids. I've already had two expulsions and one severe disciplinary case. People have got a great sense of humor, and obviously there's nothing humorous about the coronavirus itself. But sometimes humor can help us get through very difficult times. And so when I read that, and I would tell another personal story here, but I guess I better not. Anyway, again, thank you so very much for joining me for this morning's Morning Musings. My name is Don K. Preston. I am the president of Preterist Research Institute of Ardmore, Oklahoma. We are focusing on the fact that Jesus predicted the fall of Jerusalem and the destruction of the temple in Matthew chapter 24 and 2. The apostles immediately asked, tell us, when shall these things be? What shall be the sign of your coming and of the end of the age? Jesus began to give them the signs of the end of the age. And one of those signs was, this gospel shall be preached into all of the world as a witness to the nations. Then comes the end. And then in verse 32 and verse 33, Jesus said, when you see all of these things begin to come to pass, then know that he or it is nigh, even at the door. And he had told them, learn the parable of the fig tree. You know that when the fig tree puts forth its leaves, you know that summer is nigh. Even so, when you see these things, you know that it is nigh, even at the door. And so, here we have Jesus saying, it will not be nigh until the signs appear. I'll have more to say about that later. But he said, when you see the signs, know that it is near. And that fig tree he gave as an illustration. You see the fig tree put forth its leaves, you know that summer is near. Now, many dispensationalists have said, well, look, the fig tree generation, that's Israel, 1948, and 40 years from 1948. Hal Lindsey, remember, 1948, and the 1980s, countdown to Armageddon. You remember Harold Camping. You remember Edgar Whisenant, all of whom said Israel, 1948. The rapture, 1988. And so the abuse and the misuse of that fig tree illustration has been used by the dispensational camp to buttress their entire paradigm. Well, there's a brand spanking new book out entitled The Rapture and the Fig Tree Generation by my friend Gary DeMar. I have a very limited number of these, okay? It's just out, just introduced. This morning I tried to find it on Amazon, not there. I tried to find it on eBay, it's not there. So I have a very limited number of these. The regular price is $15 plus shipping. So it's going to put you $18, $19. However, for this limited number of these books, I have 25 copies on hand, okay? You can purchase the book. It's not on my website because, like I said, I've only got a limited number of them. For a limited time, $13.95 postpaid. Now, normally, when I sell books, it's the price plus $4.95 shipping. So if I sold them to you for $13.95 plus shipping, that would put you at $18 plus. But I'm offering you this book, 25 total copies. I'll keep track of it and what have you. Total delivered price, $13.95. You can send me the money via PayPal and make a note. I want to order Gary DeMar's book on the rapture. And I will assign you a number. And again, I've got a very limited number. So take advantage of this very special, limited offer of Gary DeMar's brand new book, The Rapture and the Fig Tree Generation. If these sell out immediately, I'll contact Gary and see about getting some more. And I'm assuming that he'll have them eventually on Amazon or eBay. But at the moment, like I said, as I filmed this morning, they're not on that venue. Now then, once again, Jesus said, when you see all of these things come to pass, that's the signs. We've been focused on the fulfillment of the Great Commission. This gospel shall be preached into all of the world as a witness to the nations, then comes the end. Very clearly, the fulfillment of the Great Commission was to be a sign of the nearness of the end of the age. When you see these things come to pass, you know it's near. It's nigh, even at the door. And I told you, there are very many different passages that we could go to. And by the way, don't forget my April 4-book fantastic special. I'm not going to take the time to go back through that. Just go to my website, donkpreston.com, up at the top. And the reason I do that is because of this book, Into All the World Then Comes the End. It documents that the Great Commission was fulfilled in the first century. But order that fantastic April 2020 special. But I told you I'm only going to focus on 3 particular passages that prove beyond a shadow of a doubt that the Great Commission was fulfilled in the first century and that the end therefore was near. I've shared with you James. James said, the parousia has drawn nigh. Be patient until the parousia. The judge is standing right at the door. He is directly echoing Matthew 24:32 and 3. It's all but a quotation. When you see, know that it's near. James, he is at the door. 1 Peter chapter 4. Verse 5, Christ was ready to judge the living and the dead. The end of all things had drawn near. The time, the kairos, the divinely appointed time had come for the judgment. Folks, it couldn't get any plainer, couldn't get any clearer. It could not be more irrefutable. James and Peter were declaring the nearness of the end. The third passage on this issue is that I want to examine, again, there are many more that we could and that I cover in this book, okay, is Revelation chapter 14. Revelation 14:6 and following is absolutely incredible. And of course, the futurist views of eschatology have to do incredible gymnastic manipulations with this text in order to avoid its very, very clear meaning. Revelation 14:6 and following. I saw another angel flying in the midst of heaven, having the everlasting gospel to preach, watch, to those who dwell on the earth, to every nation, tribe, tongue, and people. Do you suppose that's Matthew chapter 24? Look, this passage is one of the multitude of reasons why many scholars, such as R.H. Charles and a host of others, and on, recognize that the book of Revelation is the Apostle John, if he wrote Revelation, is his expanded version of the Olivet Discourse. Because the book of Revelation follows the pattern and contains virtually every element, every constituent element found in the Olivet Discourse. Jesus said this gospel will be preached into all of the world as a witness to the nations. And here we have John seeing the vision of an angel with the everlasting gospel to be preached to every nation. Ethnoi, Matthew 24, to all the nations, ethnoi. Hello. To every nation, tribe, tongue, and people, saying with a loud voice, fear God and give glory to Him, for the hour of His judgment has come. Now, I'm going to have to keep this brief, and I'll have to pick this up next Monday. All right? But I want you to notice something. What did Jesus say in Matthew chapter 24 in the parallel of Mark chapter 13:32? But of that day and hour knows no man, no, not the angels, but my Father only. Now, it's kind of interesting, is it not, that we are constantly told that God doesn't see time like man does, right? Well, let's see. If God doesn't see time like man does, then how could God know the day and the hour? I mean, if time is a mystery to him, and if he doesn't communicate truthfully about it, how does he even know the day and the hour? But here's something you absolutely must catch the power of what I'm about to share. And again, I'm almost out of time. Boy, it's getting away. Okay, Revelation 1:1-3. The revelation of Jesus Christ, which God, that's the Father, gave to him to show to his servants the things which, what? Must shortly come to pass. Now, here's what you got to catch. This is the Father who knew the day and the hour, right? Revealing to the Son. By the way, G.K. Beale understands this. G.K. Beale says the book of Revelation is the Father who knew the day and the hour, revealing to the Son the day and the hour. Well, hello. That's fatal. So Revelation 1:1-3 says, here's the Father revealing to the Son, who would in turn show to his servants, that's the seven churches representative of the church of the first century, things which must shortly come to pass. The time, the kairos, the divinely appointed time, is at hand. Now, watch this. Remember, the Father knew the day and the hour, right? Well, in Revelation 14, the Father, who knew the day and the hour, sent the angel with the everlasting gospel to be preached to every nation, kindred, tongue, tribe, etc., saying, the hour, pardon me, of his judgment has come. Now, has come is from the Greek word elthein. It's in the perfect tense, and it means it has arrived. Just like Peter said, the appointed time for the judgment has come. Listen, folks, we have in Revelation 14 the absolute definitive statement from God the Father, who knew the day and the hour, saying that the hour of the judgment had come, because of verse 7 and 8, which we will pick up on Monday. But you see, in the meantime, you've just absolutely got to catch the power of the fact that Revelation is all about the Father who knew the day and the hour of the coming of the Lord, the day and the hour of the judgment of the living and the dead, the day and the hour of his judgment. And it is the Father who knew that day and the hour, telling John, the hour of his judgment has come. Fully in agreement with 1 Peter. By the way, I am convinced that Peter was written after Revelation. I won't go into that. But I believe that's why he also said, the time has come for the judgment. So here we have the inspired statements from God himself. Jesus said, when you see these things come to pass, know that it is near, even at the door. This gospel will be preached in all the world as a witness to the nations. When you see these things happen, you know that he is nigh, even at the door. Here is John in Revelation being told in regard to the Great Commission, the hour of his judgment has come. Why? part of that message, integral to that message was Babylon is fallen. Who is Babylon? Well, we'll talk about that. In the meantime, don't forget, tomorrow we will pick up our study and refutation of Lance Conley's book, Hope Resurrected, and we will shift gears from Isaiah 65 to Isaiah 66, proving beyond a shadow of a doubt that Mr. Conley's argument, Mr. Conley's foundational presupposition that there would be no evangelism after the day of the Lord, it's false. And with that presupposition, falsified, his entire book falls to the ground. You don't want to miss it. So I'll see you on the flip side.